Oh, yeah. Is it too late? Too late. It's never too late for me. It is the Matt Blaze Show. I am your host, Matt Blaze. This would be officially show number 2 after show number 1 was done, 2 months ago. But, you got to work things out. That's what I was doing. It's the summer. I was hanging out. I am at the Jersey Shore, of course. And there's always stuff going on here at the shore in the summer. We are now upon Labor Day weekend. So the summer is going to be officially over come Monday. Or I should say really unofficially over. Because the summer really doesn't end until like September 23rd or something like that. And but for me, once Labor Day comes, school starts, whether it be high school, whether it be college, half the kids are already back at college anyway. So now I will be doing shows on a much more regular basis, at the very least, 2 shows a week. I will be recording, and eventually we will be live streaming those shows, whether it be audio and video. We'll do a little Facebook. We'll do a little YouTube. Right now, this is only just being recorded audio-wise, not doing any video. If you see a video of this, because I will put something on YouTube, you'll just see like my logo. That's pretty much it, because I'm not in the mood to turn the camera on right now. I just turned on the mic. I said, hey, I got something to say. I got something to talk about. And it's hot in the news right now, and it's been on my mind, and I gotta let it fly. And that's what I intend to do. So this week, on Monday, was the MTV Video Music Awards. And I watched the show. I wasn't really all that impressed, to be 100% honest with you, about the show. It was all right. It wasn't like past MTV Video Music Awards shows where crazy stuff happens. Nothing actually crazy really happened. And you used to watch the Video Music Awards because they were like the Rebel Award show. You had the Grammys, you have the American Music Awards, you have the Oscars and the Emmys and the Tonys, and those were all given out by Hollywood and people in the music business, and it wasn't really, nothing crazy really happened. It wasn't like rock and roll. MTV in the beginning was rock and roll, man. It was crazy. It's rock. You had, Madonna rolling on the stage singing like a virgin. Nobody ever saw that before. So it was the new generation of these music stars now having to not only put out a good record, but they got to put out a good video. And the unexpected was to be expected at the MTV Video Music Awards, the MTV VMAs. I remember when Nirvana performed. I think that was at the 92 VMAs, and Chris Novoselic of Nirvana, the bass player, at the end of the set, throws his guitar in the air and hits himself in the head with it and stumbles off the stage concussed. That doesn't happen anymore. And then Kurt Cobain started smashing his guitar into the amp. That's crazy. Then you had the guy from Rage Against the Machine climbing up the set of the award show. He jumped on stage from the audience, started climbing the set, everybody's screaming. Nobody knows if this is part of the show. What's going on? Next thing you know, there's security, there's cops, he's getting arrested. That's crazy stuff. That's what I want to see on the MTV VMAs. Something nuts like that that's not supposed to happen. The last thing that I can remember that happened, that wasn't part of the show, was when Kanye jumped up on the stage, interrupting Taylor Swift when she was receiving, I think it was her first VMA. And everybody condemned him, like, this guy's absolutely out of his mind. What is he doing? He ruined her moment. And he did ruin her moment. But at the same time, you go, that's the VMAs. Crazy stuff happens. That's what we want to see. And then a few years later, Taylor Swift is giving Kanye West presenting him with the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. Now let's talk about that for a moment. Let's talk about the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. The award that now there was questioning by MTV. Questioning, are we going to change the name of the award because everybody's going fucking berserk about Leaving Neverland, the documentary that paints Michael Jackson as this child sexual abuser, as a pedophile, because these two guys claim that Michael sexually abused them as children. And the whole world goes fucking berserk about it. And you have stations in Canada stop playing Michael Jackson music. You have the guys at The Simpsons. They decide they are going to pull the episode where Michael Jackson voiced the character. They're taking that episode out of syndication, so that's not going to get played anymore. And the whole world doesn't know what the fuck to do because we all loved Michael Jackson. We all loved his music. We all loved his talent. But now he's being accused in this compelling documentary, and I say that in quotes, because these two guys, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, are alleging that Michael abused them as children. Even though Wade Robson testified in court in 2005 at Michael's trial that nothing ever happened. But before we get into that, let's talk about the MTV Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award that they're talking about changing the name. And then they said, no, we're not going to change the name. We're keeping the name the same. And you had people, most people, I'll say, from what I read, comments online, most people were kind of happy about that. They said they shouldn't change the name of the award because now since the documentary's been out, there's been a lot of criticism about the documentary and a lot of inconsistencies are being pointed out about the documentary. Not by everybody. There's always going to be the segment of people that just believe whatever the fuck anybody says, and they love to see celebrities, even dead ones, being torn down off their pedestal because we have this view of celebrities as being untouchable and inhuman. Like they're not human beings. They're like some kind of a force. They're just not real. And they're real. They're like normal people. They do everything that we do. They go to the bathroom just like we do. They have to eat just like we do. They have emotions just like a normal person has emotions. So people just love it when they see a celebrity fuck up and do something wrong and just jump on top of it. And I think it all stems from envy. It all stems from jealousy because they think celebrities have this perfect life. They're rich. They're famous. People love them. And there are just a lot of people out there just jealous and envious. And they love to see celebrities torn down no matter who they are. So MTV says they're not going to change the name. And of course, Wade Robson has something to say about it. But I'm going to get into that in a second. But anyway, what I'm saying is MTV said they're not changing the name. Meanwhile, at the VMAs, no fucking mention of Michael Jackson's name on the award. Every time they keep talking about Missy Elliott getting the award, by the way, well-deserved, long overdue that Missy get this award. Long overdue. Best performance of the night, by the way, by Missy Elliott. But no mention from MTV that it is the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. No mention whatsoever. All they kept saying is the MTV Video Vanguard Award. Even Cardi B announced it as the MTV Video Vanguard Award. Did not say the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. And I've seen some criticism of that, about how people were saying, wow, they really must have drilled it into everyone's head not to say his name. And that's bullshit. There's a teleprompter. She was reading off a teleprompter of what to say. So it's not like it was in her mind. She's probably nervous. She's up there. She's got to talk. She's not the best speaker. public speaker anyway. So she's just reading what they wrote. So they're going to, whatever's up there, she's going to say. So she's makes no mention of it. Nobody else makes no mention of it. You know who made mention of it? The one and the only Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott made mention of it. Now, I don't know if she specifically did it because MTV made no mention of it the entire show. I don't know that if she even knew that MTV was going to do that. Who knows what she actually knew, but she does know it all these years since they changed the name in 1991 to the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. He won the award in 1988, and then in 1991, they changed the name to the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award, and that's how it's been presented ever since. And they haven't presented it every year. In fact, from 2007 to 2011, I think, they didn't present it to anybody. I think in 2011, they gave it to Britney Spears. So from 7 to 10, so you got 4 years, 7, 8, 9, 10, no award at all. And then in 11, they presented it to Britney. In 12, it went to nobody. And then every year since, it's gone to somebody. So here's Missy Elliott talking. And she actually says it.
I promised I wouldn't cry this time because I cry every awards. But this Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award means so much to me. I have worked diligently for over 2 decades.
See, there you go. So Missy Elliott, in her speech, talks about the award. Now, I'm looking at the comments on YouTube. Now, this video has been put out by MTV, and in the heading, it says, Missy Elliott accepts the 2019 Video Vanguard Award. Again, no mention of Michael Jackson. Now, you read the comments, right? And you have people commenting, and I'm going to read some of them to you. Michael Jackson Vanguard Award. Don't erase his name that made MTV big. Hashtags, these MF are lying. Meaning motherfuckers are lying. Another comment. I'm absolutely loving all my fellow Michael Jackson fans this comment section. Congrats, Missy. You deserve it. Even though MTV took it out, Missy said Michael Jackson Award. Thank you, Missy. Also, Michael Jackson Vanguard Award. So glad she mentioned his name, the king. The award would be nothing without Michael Jackson. Say his name. Thank you, Missy. Someone else comments, it's Michael Jackson Vanguard Award. Put some respect on his name. Let's not pretend that legend didn't make MTV. They're right, man. They are right. Michael Jackson, the reason the award was named after him was because what he did for music videos. Before that, before Michael came along, music videos were not much of anything to look at. A lot of them. You can remember, too, that Michael came along in 1983 with the videos for Beat It and Billie Jean. Now, before, remember, MTV started August 1st, 1981. They didn't have a whole lot of videos. And if you watch the old clips of the first moments of MTV or even the first year or two of MTV, I mean, the set looked like somebody's basement. You had Mark Goodman with his afro and Alan Hunter on the original VJs, Martha Quinn, Nina Blackwood, and J.J. Jackson with all the original MTV VJs. And it didn't look professional at all. There wasn't a lot of production going into this. Who knew? They didn't know what was going to happen with this. And it was MTV Music Television. They didn't have a whole lot of videos. A lot of it was just concert footage. And believe it or not, some bands did make what they called back then promotional videos for songs. So they did have some music videos. But then Michael came along and he put all this work, and he knew. He was that smart that he knew that these music videos were going to be something special. And it changed the way artists had to now do their music. It wasn't just about making a record and promoting it. It was you make a song, you make a video. And a lot of times they had to shoot the video, before the song was even out because it all got presented in one shot. And a world premiere on MTV for a music video was a big deal, especially when it was a Michael Jackson video at the time. And I remember they played Beat It and Billie Jean a lot. And then at that point, the record, the Thriller album, was doing all right on the charts. It wasn't that big at the time, believe it or not. People don't remember. The album actually came out at the end of 1982. And it was played in sort of heavy rotation, Beat It and Billie Jean. And at that time, MTV wasn't playing a lot of black artists. They were playing a lot of rock and roll. To be honest, that's how it was. And when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk on the Motown 25 special, that is when Michael Jackson shot up into superstardom. He was already a superstar, but that's when he shot up to another atmosphere, another universe, in all his own. And then when he comes out with Thriller, nobody have ever seen anything like that. We didn't see anything like that when Thriller came out. It was a 14-minute music video. And I will tell you, because I remember this distinctly, MTV played Thriller at the top of every hour when the video first came out. The top of the hour, they played Thriller. And it was 14 minutes long. Nobody ever saw that before. He made it a mini movie. He got a movie director, John Landis, to direct his music video. Unheard of. Unheard of. Then he went and got Martin Scorsese to direct Bad. That's who directed the Bad video. Martin Scorsese directed Bad. So Michael took it to a whole nother level when it came to music videos, which is the reason why they renamed the video after him. The video award, I should say, after him. And then they said in some years, it was the Lifetime Achievement Award. And again, it's not even something they gave out every year. So who knows why they don't give it out or decided not to give it out every year. I don't know why, but they did. Now we're going to get into the Leaving Neverland and Wade Robson, because this guy won't shut the fuck up. So they announced, or MTV says, we're not changing the name of the award. We're just not going to change the name. And of course, when they say that they're not going to change the name, Wade Robson, of course, has something to say about it. And what his statement was, and this was to the Wrap, he says that I don't personally need MTV to do one thing or the other, but as a child abuse survivors all over the world watch to see whether society will support them or not. If they have the courage to come forward in that regard, it's an unfortunate choice. That was Wade Robson's statement about MTV not changing the name of the award. Now, here's the thing, Wade. It's not about people coming forward about child abuse or child abuse survivors all over the world, watching about society, if society will support them. Society does support them. Society doesn't support you because you are a fucking liar. That's why. No one gives a fuck about you because a lot of people, including myself, and including Dave Chappelle, which I'm also going to talk about, don't think you're telling the fucking truth now. Because either way, you're a liar. You lied on the stand, so you want us to believe now, or you're fucking lying now. And I think you're lying now. Because I've watched. See, I do a lot of research about things before I talk about it. I don't just see one little thing and start talking about it and say, oh, Wade Robson, you're a fucking liar. Fuck you. Because I'm a Michael Jackson fan and I'm not hiding that for 1 second. I was a Michael Jackson fanatic. I saw him on the Bad Tour in 1988. I loved his music. I loved the videos. I loved the dancing. He was absolutely one of my idols. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I don't think he was also a weird guy. I mean, look what he did to his face. He fucked it all up. He was a handsome guy. You look at Michael back in 1980, 81. Look at him when he did a video for Rock With You on the Off the Wall album before Thriller. But, he had the little Jerry curl. He had something done to his face. I think he had a nose job done or whatever he had. He was still young, 21 years old, whatever he was at that point. He was a handsome dude, and then he went and fucked his whole face up. Never happy for whatever his reasons were. So, yeah, I'm not saying he was a everyday, average, normal guy, even for a celebrity, but you're a fucking liar, Wade. We don't believe you. So don't paint this picture that you're this child abuse survivor, because you're fucking not, bro. You fucking lied on the stand is what you want us to believe. And you were in your 20s. You weren't an 8-year-old kid. You understood about sex and sexuality and having sex. So at your age in your 20s, you knew what Michael did supposedly to you, in your mind, according to you, was fucking wrong, and you lied about it. That's what you want us to believe now. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at all the facts, Wade. Let's look at the facts. Michael Jackson's lawyers, defense lawyers, hired investigators to grill your ass, to make sure that you weren't lying now. Back then in 2005, and when I say now, they wanted to make sure that you weren't lying. They wanted to make sure that what you were saying when you said Michael never did anything to me, never touched me, never did anything inappropriate. They wanted to make sure you were telling the truth. So they hired investigators that are seasoned professionals in getting people to talk, that can weed out lies and can tell when someone's lying. That's what they do. So they grilled you for hours upon hours upon hours to make sure you were telling the truth, that Michael didn't touch you. Because they knew that when you went on the stand, the prosecutors were going to grill you. Also, seasoned professionals. These aren't fucking guys off the street. These aren't the Joe Q public. A normal everyday person that just goes, oh yeah, oh well, he must have, Michael Jackson, he's a fucking weirdo, all those years he's Bubble the Champ and Emmanuel Lewis and sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber and did all crazy weird shit, and there was always rumors about him and little boys. Oh yeah, you know what, he fucking did it. Now he's still making a documentary. Yeah, he fucking did it. Oh, by the way, documentary in quotes. And I'm going to talk about that, and also about Dan Reed, the director of the so-called documentary, because it's not a fucking documentary whatsoever. It should be recategorized. The genre should be fucking fantasy. That's what it should be, because that's what that whole thing was just a big fantasy. So getting back to Wade being grilled by the defense attorneys from Michael Jackson, the investigators that the attorneys hired to make sure in 2005 he was telling the truth, to make sure under questioning there wasn't anything going on that they can pick up on and show an inconsistency in your story. Anything. For hours, they grilled him, hours upon hours upon hours. And they concluded he's telling the truth. So they put him on the stand, and in front of the world, in front of the judge, the prosecutors, the defense attorneys, Wade Robson said, Michael didn't do anything to me, right? So now, Wade Robson, you want us to fucking believe you now. You want us to suspend the belief that seasoned professionals couldn't get out of you that you were lying, that you fooled everybody. You want us all to believe that back then in 2005, under oath, in a court of law, you fooled everyone when you said Michael didn't do anything. Now, let's not forget, the FBI had a file on Michael for 20 years, that they were investigating him for 20 years because of allegations against him that happened in 1993. For years, they were always looking at Michael Jackson. And people will say, well, why did he pay off the kid? He paid off that Jordy Chandler's family. What happened there? Why did he pay him off if he was innocent? Innocent people don't make payments because people don't understand something. Michael Jackson's not a normal guy. And I don't mean it with the face and all that other stuff. I'm talking about being a celebrity. When you're a celebrity, you're targeted. No matter if you're Michael Jackson or if you're even an actor on a TV show, you're targeted because you have money. And when money's involved and dollar signs are involved, people will do and say anything to get money out of you. You know how many times Michael Jackson was accused of impregnating some girl? And, I'm the real Billie Jean. I'm the Billie Jean that he's talking about in that video, in the song. I'm Billie Jean. You know how many times that happened? He was a target for years of people trying to get money out of him. And this happens to a lot of celebrities, that people try to get money out of them. All the time it happens. And as a normal person, your everyday average person going through life, going to an average job, nobody in the world in terms of they're not a celebrity, there's just an average person going through life. They don't think about things like that. They can't really put themselves in a celebrity's shoes and that they have to worry about obsessed fans or people wanting to get money. They don't think, how could somebody actually say something like that for money? People do it all the time. How many videos have I seen of some fucking idiot? I saw, what was the one video of the guy, he throws like ice on the floor and then pretends to slip on the ice to collect. And there's like a video camera right there. Everybody sees it. It happens all the time. People see dollar signs. And when you're a celebrity, they see big dollar signs. There's the recording of Jordy Chandler's father saying, he's going to pay. You'll see what happens. I mean, and then you find out, well, this is not the first time they've done something like this. But no. Michael Jackson, pedophile. Michael Jackson abused kids. Because people love to believe this shit because they fucking hate that this guy was a success, that this guy was loved all over the world. People hate it. And they love to see a celebrity's downfall. They love to see somebody crash and burn. So Wade Robson, when the fucking gravy train ran out, now all of a sudden, shopping a book, that I was abused by Michael Jackson. For years, never said a fucking word. In court, never said anything. Said, Michael never touched me, right? You're a choreographer. You choreograph for NSYNC. You choreograph for Britney Spears, right? And it's alleged that the reason Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake broke up was because you were fucking Britney Spears. She was cheating on Justin with you. I don't know if that's true or not. That's allegedly. Alleged. But I do know that people were saying you're a douchebag. And they didn't want to fucking work with you. And then the work dried up. And then you went on and you lied, said in an interview, I'm working on the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil, and it's so great for me to be able to do something like that and to get back and show how much I appreciated Michael and be involved in something like this. On and on and on, which is a big fat fucking lie because the estate didn't award you that job and you were bitter about that. You know that you were bitter about. And I watched this montage of videos of Wade Robson talking, glowing about Michael Jackson. How much he meant, how the friendship for over 20 years since I was 7 years old, smiling, happy. Guess your career was going good at that time. Everything seemed great to you. And then the last video is that video in 2013 of you on the Today Show with Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer. Talk about a real fucking sexual abuser. Matt Lauer. There you go. There's the real sexual abuser. Fucking guy had a button under his desk that locked the door when women came in. Guy who had apologized, and the guy's getting divorced from his wife. A guy who got fired from the Today Show, let go. Bye-bye. Career fucking over. Matt Lauer deserves it. But then, when you sit with Matt Lauer, and he's asking you about these things, and you say, first of all, your whole demeanor is different, right? Whole demeanor. Very quiet. Just sitting there, almost stone-faced, saying, and Matt Lauer's asking you questions. How are you saying this now? And you give the bullshit victim answers. Your bullshit victim answers. I'm not saying that all answers that victims give are bullshit, but your answers were bullshit. You played off of what victims go through when they're sexually abused. And that's why I think you're even more of a fucking scumbag, because there are real people that have gone through sexual abuse, and it's the most horrible thing to have to live with and go through in life. It really is. Especially if it's a family friend, a family member, and they go through this. It's an absolute horror show when that actually happens. And you took advantage of that shit. But you know what? I don't believe fucking Wade Robson. I don't believe James Safechuck for one fucking second. And there's another thing that I read very recently about this whole thing. You know, there was an investigator or a biographer who was talking about, and he claims that Joy Robson, Wade's mother, said in a deposition that she never left Wade alone with Michael until 1993. 3 years after Wade claimed, and they claim now, that they went on a trip and left Wade behind with Michael at the ranch in 1990. Right? So he says, and Wade Robson described how he and his then 10-year-old sister stayed in Jackson's bedroom the first 2 nights they were ever at Neverland in January 1990. Wade then claimed that his family left to go to the Grand Canyon while he stayed behind with Jackson alone at Neverland for the next 5 days. That's when Wade claimed that he was first abused by Michael Jackson, going into graphic detail about what had allegedly happened over the course of several nights. Now, this biographer believes that Joy has no reason to be lying in her own testimony, freely admitting leaving Wade alone with Michael on other occasions, saying his mother, Joy Robson, testified under oath in his deposition in 1993-94 in relation to the Jordy Chandler case that Wade had actually gone with them on that trip to the Grand Canyon before the entire family returned to Neverland for the second time the following week. He says Joy Robson had no reason to lie about this. She openly admitted that Wade stayed with Jackson alone on other occasions. She could have said Wade stayed behind with Michael when we went away to the Grand Canyon between weekends. Wouldn't have made a difference. Her testimony highlights that the family joined her on the Grand Canyon trip with no mention of Wade staying behind, and she later claims that the first time she left him alone with Michael was in 1993, 3 years after he alleges the abuse started. And this biographer goes on and says her words in that deposition were, "We went to the ranch for the first weekend and then we left and went to the Grand Canyon and we toured. We came back to the ranch for the following weekend. She was asked to elaborate on who had gone to the Grand Canyon, and she said, "My family." There was no mention of Wade staying behind. To confirm this later on, she revealed that the first time Wade stayed alone with Michael at the ranch without her was actually in 1993. She said, "My son has never been to the ranch without me up until this year." And that year was in 1993. Your own mother, Wade, is now saying you were never left alone for all those nights with Michael in a deposition that was taken in 1993. What about that? What about that? What about the fact that your lawsuit was totally left out of that fantasy leaving Neverland? That's what I'm calling it. I'm not calling it a documentary. I'm calling it a piece of fantasy because it was so fucking biased and one-sided. It was a hit job. This director, Dan Reed, did a fucking hit job meant to defame Michael Jackson's character, meant to throw his legacy out the window, meant to show how you, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, can now cash in from the Michael Jackson estate because you're broke as fuck and nobody wants to work with you in Hollywood anymore because you're a fucking douchebag. All of a sudden, you loved Michael for years, but no, now that he's dead, let me talk shit when he can't even be alive to defend himself. Because you wouldn't be able to look the man in the face and tell this bullshit. And I've said it. You know what you want? You want me to believe you? You want me to fucking believe you, and you want the rest of the world, the rest of the so-called Michael Jackson truthers? That's what Dan Reed calls them. And I'm going to talk about him more. They want the people to really believe you, so there's no doubt in anybody's mind that you're telling the truth. Take a fucking lie detector test, dude. Take a lie detector test. And if you take a lie detector test, I'll be the first person to say, you know what, I was wrong. Michael was a sick fuck that abused you, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I'd be the first person to say that to you and to James. I'm a stand-up guy, man. I can admit when I fucking am wrong, and I would absolutely have no problem doing that. But I got a big problem with a fucking biased documentary, or I should say biased piece of fantasy that never, ever goes to the other side. See, a documentary, a fair documentary, a real documentary, is going to look at both sides of the equation. They're going to say, oh, these guys are accusing this happened. And then we're going to go to the other side that says, no, that didn't happen. And here's why that didn't happen. And then we go back to this side and they go, no, well, here's why it did happen. You have to have fucking proof. You can't just say, this is what happened, and because it's sexual abuse, and I was a child, and Michael was a pedophile, and, everybody's been saying it for years, so now I'm going to say it. He did these things to me. With no fucking proof whatsoever. And all the other bullshit about, Michael had all these secret little things they would do and the secret little things they would say, and how he sent the fax to James Safechuck, and he had his little nicknames for them, Doodoo Head and Applehead, and he was sending faxes and leaving phone messages, all fucking taken out of context. Dan Reed, you bitch, all out of context. Because as Michael's nephew, Taj, I believe, was one of Tito's kids, said, my uncle did that for everybody. And he showed it. Look, I got freaking hundreds of pages of faxes, hundreds of notes that my Uncle Michael wrote to me and to the rest of the kids in the family because he loved us all. He loved children in a way that he wanted to show children that give them a good childhood and to see the pure enjoyment in their faces. And I think Michael, in a way, people don't understand the way he showed love for children that weren't his own. At the time, he didn't have any kids. He didn't have any kids. And let me tell you something else. Anybody who knew Michael, anybody who saw him around his own kids, said this guy was a phenomenal father. Phenomenal father. You think all these kids are going to grow up all fucked up and have no idea about reality and just be crazy kids and all screwed up in the head? Anybody who knew Michael and saw Michael with his children, they said these kids were fucking great. And I can't remember who said it. I was watching some interview, and these two people Michael was talking to somebody, and I think it was his daughter, ran up to him and said, Daddy, and kind of interrupted. And he said, whoa, calm down. What do you say? We're having a conversation. What do you say? You say, excuse me. And he disciplined his child. And person was very impressed by that. And now to see these two fuckers attacking this guy with a lawsuit, wanting money, never mentioned that in the documentary, which, by the way, the lawsuit was thrown out. Now it's in appeal because now the documentary came out. Hit job, this documentary. And Oprah should be fucking ashamed to have these two fucking assholes in the after show asking these questions. And Oprah also, by the way, Oprah did this too. Oprah did this in 1993 in an interview with Michael. And she said to Michael, don't you understand that sleeping in the same bed with children, how people see that and how people look at that, and it's just not something you do. You don't sleep in the same bed with children. And you know what Michael's response was? And you don't have to believe me. It's on YouTube. I'm sure you can find the interview somewhere. And I'm paraphrasing it because I haven't watched the interview in years, but I always remember it. And he said, that's the way other people think. Other people think sexually. And as adults, you think sexually. That you're in bed with a child, that must mean sexually. Not thinking like, man, I'm just having a good time like a sleepover. And we're just playing games and watching movies and watching TV and doing all these things. And it's nothing more than innocence. And it's such a hard thing for people to grasp that believe that that's all it was. Because Michael, being a 35-year-old man, can possibly entertain other people's children in that way without it being about sex. And the fact that Wade Robson, I think it was Wade Robson, that described this relationship that they had, it's so fucking ridiculous when you think about it. Like, think about it in common sense terms. Like a normal human being, right? He makes it sound like in his documentary that he and Michael were in this boyfriend relationship. Okay, this is according to him. And they were fucking having sex all over Neverland. Like in every room in Neverland, they were having sex, right? Which seems so fucking ludicrous. It's insane. Think about this. Michael Jackson had a staff of hundreds of people around all the time. They had other kids coming in to enjoy Neverland. Not to say that they slept in Michael's bedroom or did, even met the guy for more than 3 seconds. I don't know. But there was people always around. Beside the fact that Michael, he's a freaking entertainer. He's on tour. He's in the studio. He's got things to do. You think he's laying around, he's having sex with a 10-year-old kid all over the Neverland ranch? It doesn't even make any sense. And to say none of the people that ever worked there, none, have come out and gone, yeah, man, I've seen things. I saw this stuff happen. Not one person has come out yet to say anything. Now, R. Kelly, you got tons of people that came out against R. Kelly, right? Beside the fact that R. Kelly made fucking videos, talking, saying shit like a fucking idiot or like a fucking pedophile that he is, and he's going wet. Or Bill Cosby, where how many women, was it 30, 40 women came out against Bill Cosby? You only have three people that have said something about Michael Jackson. That Jordy Chandler, Wade Robson, and James Safechuck. 3 out of hundreds and hundreds of kids that were at Neverland. Only 3 have some shit to say. Also conveniently left out of the documentary is Wade's relationship with Michael Jackson's niece. That they were together, introduced by Michael. Also left out of the documentary. Things conveniently left out to paint the narrative picture that Michael Jackson was a pedophile and abused these kids. And then this graphic detail about how Michael would make them bend over so he can look at their asses and all this crazy shit. And no one can think like, oh wow, their stories are really similar. Really? You don't think they could have got together and fucking made that shit up? Where's the fucking proof, man? Michael Jackson didn't have cameras all over Neverland? I kind of find that a little hard to believe. Cameras were all shut off. Nobody was working security. Nobody saw shit. They go, oh, Michael Jackson, he had a camera and he could see when people were walking up to his bedroom. That shit was already there before he even bought the property. And it was a panic room. It wasn't a room that they could hide in because somebody with the authorities are coming to get me. No, it was a panic room that was already built. And he's Michael Jackson. Of course he's going to have fucking security like that. You never know. The guy's a celebrity. Of course he's going to have that shit. But nobody thinks that because normal people don't have to go through things like that. Normal people go home. Maybe they have a security system built into their house, something like that. But they don't have what Michael Jackson has. They're not Michael Jackson. They're not somebody who people are maybe in a loving way want to touch him and meet him and see him. And then you got obsessed fans. Look, I see all the time. How many times is this fucking lunatic breaking into Taylor Swift's house? And other celebrities, guys show up at their fucking houses and break into their homes. And it's crazy. People are fucking whacked. But nobody thinks, oh, these two guys are just out for money. Oh, Michael Jackson, it's Michael Jackson. He must have abused them because, for years these rumors are flying around. No one can think for 2 seconds the motive these two guys have is money. The only reason people know who they are is because of Michael Jackson. And once he was gone, that was it.